any information from one place to another. How exactly can we send using any of the programming language? It's only through what we call as a function, parameters, or other name which we give as arguments. So there are two types of arguments. One is command line arguments, and the other one is just arguments. So command line arguments are nothing but if in case you people are sending any information to the program before the program execution starts, one way is called as a command line arguments. The other respective arguments refers to if you are sending any information from one function to another function, from one function to another function. Here, the arguments can be of the other name called as parameters too. So what do I mean by parameters here? Two types again, formal parameters, actual parameters. When we speak about the formal parameters and actual parameters, it has its own understanding, but still we don't want to break our head over that. Where args is one particular feature which we actually have in Java. Once we had a problem, that means beginning of JDK 5, we had some issues. That means if you are declaring any arguments, you need to specify before itself how many arguments I have. Why? Because we need to allot some memory for it. If you do not know how many elements are we actually specifying, there comes an issue that, oh, if you are sending 10 elements, I have declared only 5 memory spaces here. So what do we do with that? A problem arises, right? So we don't have enough memory to do that. And again, the other way can also be true. If I have 100 memory spaces which are reserved and you say only 1 or 2, then 100, the remaining 98, 99 spaces will be of wastage, right? So in order to avoid these kind of problems, a simplified feature that need to take care of variable number of arguments. That means we can't say every time it will be the same. Is it not? It can vary, it can change, it can, if I'm sending a value or if I'm declaring a array variable, someone has declared, someone is giving the values, right? So ambiguity arises. Whenever two or more people are working on the programming, there comes the ambiguity. So proper channel needs to be there for the communication. If one guy tells that, okay, I need 10 variables or 10 array variables. Why? Because I need 10 different variables. Tomorrow, somebody may come up with another one more addition. For example, if you have, usually, if anybody asks you about any details, first thing is they'll ask you about the name, they'll ask you about the age, they'll ask you about the sex, they'll ask you about the address, phone number, your Gmail, mail ID, permanent address, current address, then what? So here we have some 9, let's assume 10 numbers were there, 10 information fields. Tomorrow somebody will come. What do they ask? Other number. The other one will come. Other one will ask you for some XYZ details. Working position, which company, married or not, children, spouse. These things come into picture. That means it is not fixed. It may not be fixed, or the problem arises. I hope you people understand now. Variable, because the information which we get varies each time. So in that particular situation, this feature called as var args, and it's short for variable. Okay, var args came into picture, and what it does, a method that takes a variable number of arguments is called as a variable arity method. Don't worry about the variable arity method. So it's called as a var args method. So situation which looks here is, so for example, a method that opens the internet connection takes a user name, password, file name, protocol, and so on. This is what the problem which I told you when we discussed about a person details. Here it is also taking some Gmail, but still it is not restricted to 4 or 5, and it goes on. But by default, some of its information is not provided. In this situation, it would be convenient to pass only the arguments to which the defaults did not supply. Right. So another example is printf method that is a part of a Java input-output library. We'll not worry about that because it's speaking about chapter 19, which we don't have in this. Prior to Java JDK 5, variable length argument could be handled in 2 ways because it didn't have that problem. We had that problem. So if we had, how were we dealing? Neither of which was particularly pleasing. First is maximum number of arguments and small and known. It could be create overloaded versions of the method. That's what overloaded versions of the method refers to. I have many. I have many functions and you are sending more values. In turn, it will be checking for, okay, I'm sending you 10 values, you have to receive 10 values, but you are overloading it. That means you are sending 15 values, but memory space is 10. What to do with that? There arise the problem. So before JDK, it was the another problem. After JDK, we solved it using where ax. That means what this where ax tells us, variable argument, it is not fixed to one value. You have to be very careful. That's what it says. All right. So coming back to one of its example here, always this variable argument problem starts with an array only, right? So in cases where the maximum number of potential arguments was larger or unknownable, a second approach was used in which the arguments were put into an array and then the array was passed to the method. This approach is illustrated by the following program. So we have a class called as pass array. Do we have a main class here? Yeah, main is over here. So pass array itself is a main class. So we come to a main. So what do we see here? Main is having string args for now, if in case he is sending through command line arguments. For now, it is not. So notice how many arrays have we created. So we have n1, n2, n3. How many arrays do we have? Okay, the lady who asked me the question, can I get your name?
Annapurna, sir.
Yeah, Annapurna. So this is the thing now. How many arrays do we have?
3, sir.
3 arrays. So n1, n2, n3 are 3 arrays. n1 is having value 10, n2 is having value 1, 2, 3, n3 is having nothing. So it's a null. So we don't have anything to share for n3. But now you need to send the array values 1, 2, 3 to variable test. There is a method called as test and you're sending the array. But the catchy thing is this array which you are sending, we do not know at this point that what type of array it is, how much length it is, how many contents it has, we do not know. Do we know? Because
No,
we
sir.
are sending n1, n2, n3 to the same variable test. At the receiving end, we didn't tell them that n1 has 1 content, n2 has 3 content, n3 has 0 content, right? We didn't tell that. So how did it get to know that it has so many values? These many values I have to say, because v of array doesn't know what type, but it only knows that okay, I'm able to receive integer array contents, but it doesn't know what are its contents, right? So once you send n1 as integer array to variable test, you need to get it in the form of an array itself. So here what happens, so it will say that number of arguments, v dot length and content. So number of arguments is straight away the string which it displays. V dot length, we know that length actually gives the how many number of elements do we have or do we present in. Yeah, sorry, I didn't get you. Am I audible, guys? Okay, my voice is breaking over. Is my voice breaking? Annapurna?
No, sir.
Okay. So, the gentleman, if your voice is breaking actually, kindly put it on the chat box. I'll get a notification here. I'll reply to that. Probably you are telling the answer, I guess. Okay. So we have that array resulted over here on V and V dot length. This length will return how many number of elements are there in an array. So, and then we have another strings here as a content. So number of arguments, it prints the number of length of whatever the array we sent and contents, and it also prints the contents. This is what you have not seen, I guess, right? So we'll explain about that. I'll tell you what exactly these are. So n1 has how many value? N1 has 10 as a value. So it comes here. So number of arguments, 1 contents. So it will print this. Then this is a looping statement. We call it as a for each loop, or you can also use as in this way also. Speciality of this for each loop is it is used to iterate only arrays. It is used to iterate only arrays. There is a syntax for it. So you can see this is your incrementing variable. This is your array variable. Okay. So this is your temporary variable, that is x. This is your array variable. So what this for each or for does is this is specifically used for an array. That means you always need to send an array over here. If you are not sending, then it gives you an issue or a problem. Okay, you always need to send some value. So it this for each loop has been designed in such a way that every time you start with x value 0, that means you are not incrementing, you are not doing anything. Automatically it will do on its own. So what it does, x value will be 0 and v's 0th index. What do I have? V 0 index. Annapurna, what do we have? V 0th index, what do we have? So here my contents of this V will be 10, right? So V is 0, V of 0, that is x value will be initially 0. So what is V of 0? It is 10,
10,
right?
sir.
Yeah,
What
so 10
about
will
that
be,
other two arrays, sir?
other two arrays will come back because control has been sent to the first one now. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ it has gone now. It has not come back. Remember that. It has not still come back. Because once it sees a break or a closing parenthesis, then only it comes back to this position. Alright, we have not come back still. So V of 0 is equals to 10. So system.out. What is my x value, Annapurna, now? As I told you, for will always initialize this value from 0. So for 0, it will be, so whatever the 0th value of v of 0, it will be pushed to x value, sorry. So what will my x
Sir,
value be? X value
10.
will be 10. Okay. Maybe a small change which I might have told you, that int of x is an incremented value. No, int of x is this value of array will be saved in this x. I'm very sorry with that. Okay, the value of the array, that is v of v values, individually will be saved in value x. You can print that value x. So initially it printed what? It printed my value 10. Followed by, okay, once you printed, it comes here. Okay, next line. Now it comes back, right? So where does it comes back now? Next valid statement is va test into. Now Annapurna, how many values do we have in into?
3, sir.
3 values we will be having, and these 3 values will be sent again to this place. All right. So now what are the elements which we have? What are the elements which we have in my
1, 2, 3.
array V? 1, 2, 3. So what will be printed now? Here number of arcs plus v dot length. What is v dot length now?
3.
3 contents. So number of arguments, 3 contents. So here what will be printed? Int x. For the first x, what will be printed?
1.
1. Then 1 space 2, 1 space 3. This for will know whenever it is which is the end element. This function knows, so it will print 1, 2, 3. Control comes to the next line and it comes back. Now we come to variable test in 3. So now it will be sending here. What do I have in array V?
Empty array.
I have nothing, right? So we don't have anything. So number of arguments, v dot length will be 0. Contents. So here it will never take this because it doesn't have any element. So straight away it comes here. So 0 will be printed, remember, and nothing will be printed on the other side. Okay, so the same example here, would you like to demonstrate to me now? Would you like to explain it to me? Okay.
I didn't understand the entire where arc, sir. I got
Okay.
confused when I read that.
Okay. We'll go pretty fast. No issues. So here the next is, here's the preceding program written using a variable arg. So class var arg always start from the main method. So notice how var test can be called with the variable name number of arguments. So var test of 10, 1, 2, 3 and var test. Instead of giving these value into an array, straight away I am sending the value 10, 1, 2, 3 and nothing. So 10 is the initial one. So here comes the gist. So we have integer v system out dot println number of arguments. Same thing will be displayed even here too. But the thing is, we are sending straight away with the values. We are sending straight away with the values. Okay. Hmm.
Sir, could you tell what that three dots is going to do?
Here, in fact, this should be an array. This int should be an array here, so that whatever the value which you sent, those value will reside here. So what this line tells is, this is a valid statement. I'm not telling it's not a valid. So what it tells is, we'll see. Static void variable test, this particular function here, specifies that the syntax tells the compiler that VA test variable can be called with 0 or more arguments. As a result, V is implicitly declared as an array of int. That's what. This will be replaced. And also it says that I'm not even sending any arguments also. This program accepts one value, no value, and whatever value which you send, it will defaultly call it as an array. Thus, inside this function variable test, V is accessed using the normal array syntax. So it's basically syntax only. But here is a preceding program written using the variable arg. So same program, but okay, you got the question. No, I think the question was, why do we have three dots? We have three dots because we are telling that it's a variable array v. Variable array v. But you can call it as a 0 or more arguments also. Any doubts? I hope
No,
we
sir.
spoke about it. The variable length argument is specified by the three periods. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 dots can be given. All right. So okay. So I should tell you what was the existing problem. Okay. So if you're sending a array here, every time you may say that, okay, what is the use of this and the other one? Straight away here also we can use the three dots. So we have some problem because this is belonging to prior to JDK5. Because as I told you, memory will be wasted. Memory, whatever we had, would go to waste or underutilized or overutilized. That problem will not be facing when you are using this option. After JDK5, we had this concept called as variable argument. So using the variable argument, we don't have much issue. All right, so this was done, I guess. Next, we'll go to the other one. So int do it 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have the last one as the array. Okay, we'll look into it. So there are two important things to notice in the program. The first, inside the variable test, v is operated on as an array. This is because v is an array. The three period syntax simply tells the compiler that variable number of arguments will be used and that these arguments will be stored in the array referred to v. Second, in main method, va test method is called the different number of arguments, including no arguments at all. The arguments are automatically put in an array and passed to V. In the case no arguments, in the case of no arguments, the length of array is 0 and method can have normal parameters. However, variable parameters must be the last parameter. Alright, remember this. This variable parameter should be sent at the last. Okay, other question. What will happen if I send in the middle? What will have if I send in the middle? After it, whatever it says, everything it puts into variable, or it gives you an error, right? So in case the three argument used to call a do it method are matched to the first three parameters, then any remaining arguments are assumed to belong to values. So okay, uh, a valid question here. We'll look into it. Okay, I have one array. I have one array. What is the concept of variable array? If I'm sending more number of values or if I'm sending more number of cases, you need to deal with it. The function needs to deal with it. So this is the called function. This is the called function. This is a called function. And in the called function, it's my wish I can have any elements. So for now I have four elements. For now I have 4. This is case number 1, this is case number 2, and this is case number 3. Are you following, Annapurna, here? Beauty of variable arguments is
Yeah,
this.
sir.
So I have integer, I have integer A, I have integer B, and I have integer C. And I have this integer, so variable argument that is 3 dot and V. Okay, the beauty of variable argument is if my calling method is usually main, in the main method it is calling. So whom it is calling, it will call this, I'll call it as do it method. So this method is called as do it. I'll call this method. So whenever you're calling this method from the main method may send 4, 5, 6, 7, how many values which it can send. Whenever you send 4 values exactly, that is, let's for considering the example 4, 5, 6, and at the end I'll send some array elements which is 2, 3, 4. So these value if I send, it has to come here. So what will A be? A be 4. What will B be? B be 5 and C be 6. And remaining whatever elements which it sees, it puts into this array V. First condition. Any issues here with the case 1? Any issues with the case 1? Okay. The second
Yeah, sir.
case, yeah, all right. So the second case is, what if I replace this here? In other words, I have integer array 3 dot v, then I give integer b, then I give integer c, and I'll replace the same integer a. So if I send the same values, what it takes? 4 it will take here. What about the next one? It takes 5, 6 and all the remaining completely whole and soul. It will go save in this array. This will not get the value. This will not get the value. Because you say that this is a variable array and whatever you are sending, I have to put it. So this syntax will be wrong. Why? Because my variable argument should always be at last. You got it?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, what if in case I use this variable argument in the first place itself, 3 dot and v. This here I have int a, here I have int b and int c. What will happen here? Whatever values you send, 4, 5, 6 through 2, 3, 4, everything goes and resides here. Nothing will be there in a, nothing will be there in b, nothing will be in c. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right, so this is about variable argument. You can see here. So if you are using A, B, C, okay, here is your variable argument. Then Boolean stop flag. Whatever value which you send as a Boolean stop flag, it will save in vals only. All right, so that's an error. Again, more value because we have a value here. Whatever value which you send, it will be posted here itself. Nothing will come here. So it doesn't matter even if you send another variable arg. So and also second var args parameter is also illegal. Next one is here is reworked version of the same. I think now you can justify the answer what we actually see. Malva?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there is another concept of something called as overloading variable args. So what do you mean by overloading? Then the function name is same, but the parameter list is different. That is called as overloading. So variable test 1, I have variable test 2. Two methods which is having the same name, but my parameters are different. Yes, variable arg with overloading method can be utilized. One small example for that. And yeah, so whenever you send those values, automatically variable test will know that where exactly it has to send. So for it is starting with the string will go automatically for string itself. And if I have any of the boolean values, so automatically the boolean will be called. So we have a method here dealing with the boolean, that is true or false. All right, so I think that's about the vargs and variable arguments topic. So yeah, any other doubts regarding the syllabus which you have, guys? Any other doubts? Anybody?
No, sir.
All right, good, valid question. And if we have any other doubt, we can take it. Do we have any other questions, guys?
No, sir.
All right then.